I'm saying this as a confession. I can't explain how it happened, but I know it's my fault because it started with me hurting myself. And it's not like I wanted attention or anything, okay, well, as long as I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind someone noticing me, but that isn't why I burned myself. And it definitely isn't why I killed myself, but I'm getting ahead now. I was in class one day when someone set a fire in the chemistry lab. Probably Jason, that idiot was always using the Bunsen burners to melt pens and glue, and whatever he could get his hands on. Anyway, the fire drill started and the whole high school was paraded out into the parking lot like we practiced during drills. Everyone was laughing and screaming, and I'd just gotten out of a math test I wasn't ready for, so I didn't mind. While we were standing in the parking lot, I overheard Lisa say that Sammy, the kid in the wheelchair, got stuck on the elevator during the drill. It's not hard to overhear things since I hang on her every word, but you would too if that blonde goddess was standing next to you wearing a punk plaid skirt and a sweater almost tight enough to see through. What was I saying? Oh right. Well, rumor had it that another kid went back into the school to get Sammy out. No one knew who it was, but they were already talking about him like he was a hero. Tobias Wade, Com 115. That's when I had an idea. I could just burn the edges of my clothes a bit, and then Lisa and all the other kids would think I was the one who went back in for Sammy. I could be the hero. And even if the real hero did come forward, well, I had the burns and he didn't, so who were people going to believe? I kept my head low and stayed away from anyone who might recognize me, which wasn't very hard since I didn't have a lot of friends. Or any, I guess. I was new and it would take time. I just hadn't expected it to take more than a semester for anyone to recognize me. But that's okay, because after today, I was going to be the hero. When the bell rang for us to go back inside, I darted straight to the bathroom. There's a place under the sink where some of the seniors hide a box with cigarettes and lighters. I pulled the box out, found a nice black Zippo lighter with a skull on it, and here goes the fire springs to life. Well, turns out polo shirts don't light up as easily as I was expecting. I blackened a few hairs, but this wasn't nearly enough for people to think I walked through a fire. I used a pen to open the Zippo at the bottom and poured all the lighter fluid onto my shirt. My heart was pounding, I was excited. I couldn't wait to come back to class and watch Lisa's face sparkle with awe. I didn't even take the shirt off, I wanted a few burns. Enough to show how tough I was. Just as I was about to light the fluid, my mind played a funny trick on me. It looked like the skull on the lighter was smiling. I didn't remember it doing that before. Too late now, the fire was already dancing over my shirt. It barely even felt warm. I watched myself in the mirror as the fire spread from shoulder to shoulder. My buttons began to heat up and stung a bit, but the shirt was smoldering nicely. I ran the faucet and splashed the 51 Sleepless Nights 116 water on me. That'll be enough. But the fire drank the water as though nourished by it, spitting boiling vapor into the air. The heat was intense now. I tried to rip the shirt off, but the polyester was melting to my skin. The metal buttons seared into my flesh. I couldn't stop screaming. I didn't want anyone to see me like this, but it was like I was hearing someone else scream through me without even asking my permission first. I dropped on the ground and began to roll, but the fire just continued to spread over my entire body. It ran up my arms, and I could actually see the flesh melting from my finger bones. The pain was like you can't imagine. My whole body was being pierced with red-hot knives. Then it started to go black, thank God. I'll fall unconscious and someone will find me. It'll be over. But no, only half my vision was gone. I looked into the mirror and watched my left eyeball melting down my face. It would have gone down my cheek if there was any cheek left, but it simply dripped through the hole in my skin, straight into my mouth. I gagged. How was I still conscious? The pain wasn't letting up, but I forced myself to watch my reflection. I'd done this to myself. Somehow, I deserved it. My jawbone was completely exposed now, and it was starting to crack from the heat. There's no way a Zippo lighter could have done this. I grabbed the little black box, but the skull had vanished. Whoosh! A toilet flushing. Was someone in here the whole time? I tried to turn my head, but my spine was too weak to support me and started collapsing in on itself. I crumpled to the floor and watched as a bathroom stall opened. What the hell was this it? Am I dead now? Because there's no reason, no way I could really be seeing myself walk out of the bathroom stall. The Tobias Wade, com 117 other me, wearing my shirt and pants, completely unsigned by fire, walked over to the sink beside me. He calmly washed its hands in the sink, not even glancing down at me writhing on the floor. I tried to speak, to scream, anything, but only a dry gurgle escaped my throat. That's when the other me turned and smiled, and I could have sworn it was the same bony white smile the skull wore. Your turn on the inside, it said, or I guess I said that, because it looked a lot more like me than I did. Then everything went black, only I could still feel every inch of my burning body and hear the wet plop of my skin sliding down my bones onto the floor. I heard footsteps as I left the room. I must be inside the lighter now, waiting for the next person to let me out. But I can still feel my flesh burn, so I pray to God it won't be long.